Hello everyone, welcome to Gondring Designs. Today we are going to be building a user profile in Figma. We will be making the image on the left, so please tune in. Remember to hit the subscribe button, which is that little bell below, to get all of my updates, and leave a like, leave some comments, let me know what you think. I would love to hear from all of you. And before I forget, my name is Anya Gondring, and I will be your host today. So please tune in, and I hope you enjoy this video. Alright, so I am going to build this using the cell phone. I'm using the iPhone Max 16. I am going to go ahead and put a wireframe out a little bit and set up my I'm setting up the top bar so that I know where not to design. Now I'm doing my grids because I need something to remind myself to stay in the lines, otherwise I forget and my designs are all over the place. So I am going to do 4 grids with a margin of 16. I am going to check to make sure I like the way this is looking. Great, that bar is in the perfect spot. And now I'm ready to begin my project. So I have my frame here, and I'm going to kind of wireframe out this where I want my landing page to be. I often like to just kind of do rough wireframes just to get a sense of what I am building, because if I don't do that, it's often just I throw everything on there and I hope it looks right, and wireframing gives me a great tool. I know this is going to be a little bit larger. I have gone ahead and made the assets for today. So this is going to be our user profile pic. It's a vector image, and I made these using Adobe Illustrator, and I want to do a dark background, but because there's a lot of purple tones, I am going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to go to black through purple, which will give me still a rich dark shade, but instead of being pure black, which can be harsh on the eyes, I'm going to do a dark purple. So that will still give me that dark effect I am looking for. So I'm going to add this seascape at moonlight behind, and I am going to send it to the back. That way it's behind my bar, so I know that area shouldn't have any design, because like our normal cell phones, that area is where we see our battery, how much cell signal we have, all that fun stuff. So designs don't really go there. Now I know I want my image on a circle so that it pops from the background. If I just set it right on this cityscape, it's going to blend in. So I don't want that. So I know I want to have my user profile in this oval shape, and I want to have color behind it to pull the image out. So because I'm doing a purple background, I think I'm also going to stick to purple, and I'm going to pull the purple right off the wireframe. If I click between the grids, I'm able to pull from the actual purple color I'm using, and then I just kind of play in that palette to see a light shade I like. That is my little hack for making cohesive pictures. Now I'm hiding. I close the eyeball tab to hide the grids. They're still there when I need them, but for a lot of my design process, I also don't always need to see the grids. I want to put a border around this image because I feel like the circle, even though I like this purple, I feel like it should have a border. Now, I'm not going to do black. I'm not going to do heavy black. I want it to be kind of translucent, I think. So I want to have an inner circle and an outer circle so that this just sort of blends into that background while still not fully blending in. So I want to add some contrast. I'm going to stay in this warm purple tone, but I am going to use I might add some red here just to counteract the blue tone, just to add a little warmth, because right now it's going kind of cold and I want it to feel warm and energetic. And then I am also going to make sure it's a little translucent, and I'm going to also add another border. So I have one on the inside and I have one on the outside, so that this creates a nice cohesive effect. And I am going to add some shadow here so that they're not fully so that there's a little translucent, so that they're picking up the colors from behind but also on top of them. Now our user needs a name, so I'm just going to go with Mary Jones. Might as well. Good name. And I know I want the name to be about half the screen. I feel like this purple might need a little more warmth, so I'm just going to go over to the pink color and add a little pink tone to it, just to counteract the blue a little bit. Now with my username, that was really big, so I'm going to change it from regular to bold, and I am going to decrease the font size a little bit, just so that it fits. And also I'm making affordance for another user that may have a little bit larger name. I know my last name is quite large, so this gives a little affordance just in case. But for this rough wireframe and this conceptual art, I'm not as worried as I would be if this was a fleshed out prototype. Her career is a graphic designer, and I just want to make sure these all line up. So that looks pretty in line, and we have the career a little bit smaller than the name. That way the users kind of can see what our username is. Now I'm going to add some squares here because I want her to be displaying her work. This is like a Behance or a Dribble portfolio, I suppose, where she's showing off her work to potential clients in a free web gallery. So she's like, hey, I'm a graphic artist, look how great this is, I drew a picture of myself and you can see all my artwork here. And she lives in the city, and this just kind of gives you a little snapshot of who our user is. Now the squares are again the wireframe. For the images, I would prefer to use generic squares here instead of the actual images, just to kind of, again, prototype to wireframe this out, just to give myself a little bit of a help. If you notice, my image is actually moving with my frame. That happens sometimes with vectors. So I'm just going to pull that image off and hold it off to the side, and now I'm just going to drag it right back into place. So now I'm good. Again, that's the benefit of wireframing. We can correct these things before they're a bigger problem. I am going to drag these images right on top of those rectangles because they're already spaced out to where I want them. And this doesn't really matter in what order. These images are also named, though. If this was more of a finished product for a client, I might have a certain order to the way I lay these out, and then by incorporating a name, the devs are able to easily put them in the proper spot. And it's very important to remember dev needs. So now I have all my images right over these rectangles, and I'm just going to hide those rectangles. I could come through here and delete them all, but who knows if I want to add a border or something down the road. Now I want to add some icons. So I'm going to go to Iconify. This is a great free plugin from Figma, and I am going to add a battery. I want to put a battery at the top of my bar, and I want to have a navigation bar at the bottom. So I'm going to go through this app and search out some icons I want to add. That way I'm able to have a cohesive design. So it's important to remember your punctuation. So The user gives me a single. I want users, so she has friends on this app. And then I am going to search for gears. It shows me multiple gears. I actually want a single gear for the settings. So I'm just going to drag that out. Now I have all of my icons I need. So I am going to add this battery up here and right into this toolbar. And I am going to move it to the front, and I am going to make this toolbar a little translucent. And the battery, I am going to come over to this vector on the side, and it looks like I didn't grab the border with it, so I'm going to see if it helps if I drag that over into my frame so I can change the color. So I am going to add the other icons to the bottom here, and I am going to try to put them in some order, but eventually I'm just going to use auto layout to lay these out. However, I am trying to keep these in an organized fashion. So we have my icons in kind of a laid out structure with the way I want the user to interact. I'm highlighting all of these, and I want to change the color to this pink just to make it pop against that purple back, or that dark purple background. And I want to just add auto layout. I'm going to make sure everything's centered, but now with the auto layout, it is good to go. And I'm just going to go look at my prototype one more time. And there at the top is my battery, which I really like, but I'm missing something. So I need to make sure. So what am I doing? I'm going to close these tabs fast just so that I can track where I am working. I have so many tabs open, I'm having trouble knowing what I am working on. So now I've come to the battery, and I'm going to try to tweak the color a little bit just to make it pop. I'm bringing it to the front, and I'm coming over. It's a solid white. I'm going to see if I add a little color, maybe a little blue, and see if that helps make it stand out from the busy background. So again, I'm just coming over here, bringing it to the front, because there's two vectors. There's the border vector, and then there's the little dashes for how much life the battery has. And now I'm just going to add a time. I'm going to do 4:20 p.m. and I am going to decrease this size. So I am going to do 18 because our cell phones have a display time up at the top, and I want this to look more like a cell phone. So I'm just going to drop it into place, and I'm going to check our prototype. All right, it's hitting that edge. I don't want it right on the side like that. So I'm going to come over to my prototype and move it over a little bit and see if I can help it. I'm just going to drag it over and see what it does right here. And I'm just clicking in. Okay, that's too far over. My cell phone doesn't display like that. I assume yours doesn't either. So let's see if I just move a smidgen. All right, that smidgen looks great. It looks closer to the cell phone I look at all the time. So I feel like this app is done. I hope you enjoyed this video. And this was a little bit shorter than my previous ones. Please remember to subscribe to my channel. Let me know your feedbacks. Please leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your day.